Oh man, I mean the excitement. This is what you want a T20 international to be. This is what you want all cricket to be. Just all the decisions or all the results possible till the last over. And it really was. At a time where you thought that India's hopes for a win were dead and buried at the halfway stage, 64 for 5 at 10 overs, Suryakumar Yadav and Axar Patel. And Axar Patel more than Surya. Yes, that's right. 20 ball 50 for our dear Bapu. And he gets that and almost takes India to a really improbable win. 206 is what Sri Lanka had got after Hardik put them into bat. And India got to 190 in their stipulated 20 overs. The star definitely Axar Patel. 65 runs at over 200 a strike rate. And in the end, well, it was the man of the moment. He did it with the bat and he did it with the ball. The Sri Lankan captain Dasan Shanaka came to bowl the last over, his only one in the game. Managed to get Axar Patel, and that's when you knew that the match was done and dusted. Everybody shook hands and went home. Sri Lanka winning by 16 runs. The series 1-all. I'm Gaurav Kapur. This is Cricbuzz Live. With me, Ajay Jadeja and Dinesh Karthik. Let's see which one of them has caught their breath from that. I think Ajay first. You've caught your breath. You're feeling
Exciting game. I mean, it was a great game to watch. The highlight for me was the spirit that the Indian team showed.
Yeah.
And especially Axar, as you said, Bapu. And the spirit of Bapu's are like that. I mean, Akshar's, Patel, but, he showed that spirit. Never to, never gave up.
Yeah.
It was a task that was beyond his reach. I personally, when we came for that Cricbuzz
Combox,
yes. I had no hope or even getting close to that game.
You had gone home. We had to get you back.
Yes, I mean, and Axar and Surya got me back. So that was the highlight for me. Yeah. The spirit of these two guys, that not to even give up at that stage. All credit to Sri Lanka. And I think Sri Lanka won that game in the first 5 overs when they took all those wickets. But it was a great game to watch.
Yeah, easily you can say the first half DK belonged to Sri Lanka, first 10 overs. The next 10 overs belonged to India. Well, 9 overs belonged to India till Axar got out.
Yes, absolutely. I think great. Just what Ajay Bhai said, I think this is a game which in many ways shows the spirit of Indian cricket. I think the never say die attitude. We always want to see these qualities in an Indian team, and this is exactly what they showed us today. We've always associated Axar with playing cameos, and he's done it in the past, but this one was one which took a lot of mental fortitude because they were literally dead and buried. And to be fair, I think Surya wasn't his usual self. He wasn't having the momentum that was required as well. But for him to play the kind of knock that he played, take on his matchup, put the Hasaranga to the sword today was exhilarating to watch. And of all the series that we've had in the recent past, interestingly, this one turns out to be the most exciting 2 games in a long time. Yeah. So that is good to watch bilateral.
Yeah, it was. It happened. You're right. Axar actually hit Hasaranga out of the game. Those 3 sixes in 3 balls. Yeah. The captain had to come and bowl the last over. That's risky. Great to see him do that. But that was because Axar actually hammered that option out for Shanaka.
Yeah, and that over really, in fact, he started with a 6 with Hasaranga. I think it was second ball that he faced and hit it 6. And then in that over when he hit 3 sixes. And at that stage, captain stuck. I mean, we saw day before yesterday what happened. Hardik wasn't fit to bowl. He didn't go to Chahal, who's a senior pro. Because on that day, what has happened at that particular time is something that you always keep in mind. So Hasaranga's, gone, for 20. Now the man still in the crease, the same man who's hit him, for 3 sixes. So you want to take that chance. And I think seamers are probably better options once it goes beyond 20, 24. Because they could go with those Yorkers and, even if you miss a couple, if you nail 2 Yorkers when you're 20 plus, you win that game. And it was a call that he made. And don't forget, he batted so well. He's having a good day. So things like that, work in your mind. But it also tells you that, the premier bowler of the opposition was not trusted at that stage. So, you can look at it and say, oh, look, he's not trusting him. But I think that was a right call at that stage because you may be a great bowler or a great batsman. Certain situations demand certain players. You would not always do that. Shanaka will not always bowl ahead of Hasaranga throughout, in an innings or in another match. But there are certain stages where you have to make these calls. And at those stages, these are the right calls.
Yeah.
You can't just look at the numbers and say, oh, this fellow's a better bowler in the past matchup, this, that. It's not about, it's all about the mind, what you feel at that stage, and it could be totally different on a certain day.
Yeah.
So it was the right call, and I mean, for India, it didn't work out, but
it was an exciting game. I tell you, I read this tweet out to you. I'm going to do it on air from Naomi Datta on Twitter. She's a writer who wrote this really funny. DK, you'll enjoy this. Hardik Pandya's strategy of challenging the team by putting them in trouble seems to be specifically targeted towards Axar Patel. It's a tongue-in-cheek comment before you go trolling her. It's a tongue-in-cheek, it's a funny comment. But the fact is that Axar pretty much has proven twice that he's up for the challenge, DK.
Absolutely. I think if you take skill sets, this left-arm spinner, left-handed batsman, there seems to be a dime a dozen in all the teams, especially in IPL and the domestic circuit. If you go around, there are many players there. And obviously, we have one, Mr. Ravindra Jadeja, who's been the hallmark of what an all-rounder means to Test cricket and the other formats for Team India. So if he needs to obviously step up and find a place in the 11, find a place in that World Cup 23 squad that's going to be announced in a few months' time, these are the kind of knocks that's going to be etched in everybody's mind. That's going to say, you know what, this guy deserves an opportunity.
Yeah.
And these are critical games for him. He'd rather have himself play these kind of tough situations, be in these sort of games and try and get India across the line, because when the moment comes to decide between a Washington and Axar at some point of time, which will happen in the one-day circuit, these are the games that will give him a good chance to step up to that fight.
Yeah, and just the thing here, like when you're chasing a 200 plus, and we're talking about Axar because he pretty much did it alone. Yes, Surya got a 50 as well, but as DK mentioned earlier, this was not the same Surya. The sun wasn't shining as bright as we've seen it shining, right? So therefore, Axar has pretty much had to be Shravan Kumar today and carry the family on his shoulders.
I mean, he carried it. I mean, to be fair to Surya, you got to, I mean, when you think from his point, I mean, as a partnership, they did exceptionally well. Numbers look great, 18-37 at that stage, but it was all probably the last 8-10 balls that he faced in that partnership that he made up for that. And the reason for that is very simple. I mean, when he walked in today, you moved him down the order. Instead of 3, he goes at 4.
Yeah.
So he walks in at 2 down. By the time, he's got past, I think, 2, they were 5 down.
Correct.
So, so you have to take time sometime. There you go.
Yeah, he didn't even get strike. You're right. I mean,
Yeah,
Hardik was batting with him 10 balls. Who came after him?
So he was probably on...
And Surya was still on 0 that time.
0 or something like that. And then you lose Huda with that little partnership that they had. So he had to, stay at the other end. Whereas it was easier for Axar. I mean, having... it's easier, sitting here, it makes it look easy. But I'm saying, relatively, instead of Surya or Axar Patel.
Axar Patel. Yeah. Not Akshay Kumar. Though he was quite a khiladi today.
You were talking about Shravan Kumar.
Yeah.
Today's Shravan Kumar had no pressure on him at that stage. So it makes it easier for you to throw your bat around. Whereas Surya is a responsible man. He's a batsman. He has to see the team through. So you sometimes need to take that time.
Yeah.
And you will see that. I think, fans in India also, one thing if you look at, any player in the history of Indian cricket, whatever their strike rate is, and leave our great man out who's with us on the screen today, most players, I'll leave 1 or 2 out, when they start their career, their strike rates will only keep going down.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because you start expecting them to be more and more and more consistent.
Yeah.
So this is a small example why Surya today probably looks not as bright to everyone else and in numbers saying, look, he was slower than the other. But he had no other option.
Yeah.
I thought he did the right thing. If there was something that you had to pick in Surya's inning, is when he got out. Because at that stage, then now you're set, the game is in your control. And at that stage, that would make me feel a little let down rather than him getting out early or being slower at the start.
Yeah, but why did he have to do that? Here's the question, right? While we're going gaga over Axar, why did Surya have to take his time to rebuild? That's because of the destruction that happened before. And I think there is a certain amount of flag, DK, that the other 5 batters will rightfully cop today in that 200 chase.
I mean, absolutely. I think when you head towards the west of the country, the one thing that you will find is red soil, and it aids the new ball bowling. I think you will find a lot of swing there. We saw it in Bombay. We are seeing it in Pune. There will be a little bit of that in Rajkot as well before it turns out to be absolutely flat. When the ball gets slightly older, it gets much better to bat on. And the good thing about the Sri Lankan attack is they seem to swing the ball well. And both Madhu Shanka and Kasun Rajita bowled really good spells up front, some testing balls for batters, and they really tested the batsmen, to be honest. I think the ball that was bowled to Ishan Kishan was a good one. The ball that got Rahul Tripathi was a really good one. So, they're getting batsmen out, which you generally don't tend to see so much in T20s because generally people will get out playing shots. So, I will say that Sri Lankan bowlers bowled really well up front, made use of that new ball, and that put pressure on the batsman because when you're chasing a tall score, you have to keep going. I mean, you got to appreciate the attitude with which Hardik came in. Yes, he didn't probably get as many runs as he would like, but he came there making a statement as a captain, coming out there, coming all guns blazing, playing those shots. And when you play shots with the ball swinging around, you tend to get out at times. But then when a partnership like this happens, that's what instills the belief that you require as a team. And that was good to watch. And credit to Surya as well. And I completely agree with Ajay Bhai that the fact that he took time at the start was fine, but the place and time that he got out at the end, and those are the moments where if you can get the team across the line, these kind of games will for sure be etched in everybody's memory, but also give tons of confidence to the team. Because when you play these games, at the end of the day, when you play T20 cricket a lot, every game is literally on the line. And the team that just plays smarter at the right moment crosses the line. And that we had an opportunity today, but we didn't finish it.
Yeah, I mean, for the Sri Lankan bowlers, of course, you saw a lot of them got a lot of stick. But one who didn't is the guy who really likes this ground. It's Rajita. Made his debut on this ground as well. And today, he, after all the carnage, has walked away with his 4 overs for 22, picking up 2 wickets. This was back when he made his debut in 2016. At that time, he picked up 3 wickets. But today, he definitely is the pick of the bowlers, Ajay, for Sri Lanka.
It certainly is. I mean, he started off with that Ishan Kishan's wicket. He swung the ball, what DK was talking about, how they used that new ball well. He was one of those. And if you're, Shanaka's had such a great match, but if, say, we hadn't lost those 5 wickets and it wasn't just that chase, and it was a chase where what Sri Lanka held India back, he would have probably been your man of the match because I think he bowled exceptionally well. I mean, he's tall, he got that little bounce, and it was swinging.
Yeah.
And don't forget, this is the same guy. A couple of days ago here in Mumbai, in Mumbai, he started the day with 17 on board.
Yeah.
First over, he was 16 or 17. Yeah. So it shows you how he can come back, what mental state that he's in, and all credit to Sri Lanka as well for keeping him in the side. Not, somebody's had a bad day, throw him out.
Yeah.
This is, how you bring players, into the fold. And, although the results gone their way, so everything looks nice for them. But he's done what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
He's been the key.
Well, what looked good and where was the difference for Sri Lanka was that they actually had 3 batters who did well for them. For Sri Lanka, which is, you get to 200, and India had 2 batters who do that. So, there's the 15, 16 run difference right there. But today again, and DK, we see this so much from Sri Lanka, and we were talking about it in the pre-game show as well, that you'll never see, the 80 or the 90 or the 100 coming from their team. You'll never find the one guy carrying it. You'll find, 3 or 4 people doing it. Today, of course, while Shanaka took all the glory because a 20 ball 50, the fastest for your country, that does that. But let's not take away from what Kushal Mendes did and what Asalanka did, because together is when you get to 200.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Kusal Mendes, in many ways, set the tone for Sri Lanka. Just right up top, 8 overs, 80 runs is what they were when he got out. So he scored a majority of the runs. And then Asalanka came in at a very tricky time. 2 quick wickets had fallen on, one to a very quick bowler, but came in and played some shots right from the outset. So that in many ways set the tone for the middle, and then Shanaka finished it off beautifully. And with Team India, you said 2 batters, I'll say 2.5. I thought Shivam Mavi batted really
well. Oh, yes. Yes.
You got it.
You're right. You got it. 2.5. Definitely. When he came and swung his bat a couple of times, you were like, hang on, just give the strike to the other guy. But Shivam Mavi just turned to all of India watching and saying, Ruko, hum bhi hai.
And I don't know what the dressing room talk will be. They'd say, maybe we rushed it a bit too early. I mean, when you saw at the end how the runs came, there is a thought. I mean, I'm one of, I always fight this saying that pre-decided, we got to play aggressive. There's a smart way of playing as well. Yeah. So if you look back into this innings, maybe you could, in a meeting or, at the bar, or I don't know what they do these evenings, there should be a conversation saying, listen, had we held on for a couple of overs at the start, this would have been an easy chase.
Had we not lost 5 wickets at the halfway mark?
Yeah, and Mavi should be the one telling these guys, "Well, listen, I went for 20 in the last over because there was a batsman batting at the end. 20, though I could have also scored at any over." He definitely...
But Ajay, just coming in here, I think I just want to say that I think Team India is better off doing what they just did today. Go all guns blazing at the start and lose a few wickets and then end up losing the game rather badly than play steady without losing wickets, a template which we have been playing for some time now, and stack up a lot through the middle and the end and then expect that to happen. We have had that, and I felt that we haven't had the success that we need. I know what you're saying. All you're saying is just have a look for a couple of overs. But I still feel if we get into this mindset of going hammer and tongs at the start and then solidify through the middle and finish strong is the best way to get the best out of our batting. I feel that we have a lot of potent, we have a lot of venom in our batting, but for it to come through totally, the mindset needs to shift. And I could see that and feel that today. I completely would be okay with team getting all out for 60 today because we'd rather go down trying that way than, keep it to the end and keep 10 overs, 130, and then someone comes and plays a blinder and a bilateral. But when we get to the big stage and when the pressure is on and when the job needs to be done on that given day, knowing that there's no day after that, that's when we seem to succumb because that's the method that we're used to playing. This is just a healthy debate that we
No,
can
fair
have.
point. What if you do a middle path? I think I don't think. But you're not saying go back to the old template.
No. I'm not saying about the template. I totally agree. I mean, you got to stick to what you believe in, and you got to either stick to X or Y or Z. And none of these systems will 100% work for you.
Fair.
You got to work out what works for you, and then you go with that template. But the problem is, I mean, just a question that I'll bring up to you. Why is it that every captain, at least last 3 years, I can think of, that when Virat Kohli took over, he wanted to change the way Indian team plays. Rohit Sharma took over, he wanted to change the way Indian team plays. Now Hardik Pandya has taken over, he wants the Indian team to change. Why is it that everyone who comes in new wants to change the old system? What is the system problem there? I mean,
I think the answer is in the fact that we haven't won any multinational tournament. From 2013, we haven't won. I don't think anybody would have come in 2014 and said, I want to change something. Because we have won something there, the Champions Trophy. Here, we haven't won a World Cup after 2007. We definitely have the best T20 league in the world. We boast of the best players, most skilled players, best bench strength. Then the results should show, isn't it?
Yeah.
If that is not happening, then there's something wrong in the way we are approaching it, maybe. And that needs to change. I think Virat Kohli said that he wants to change, but I feel his major change came about in Test cricket, the way we played, the way we bowled, the attitude towards fitness. I think Rohit Sharma made a valiant effort in this T20 where in the bilaterals preceding to the World Cup, we did play them in a way which was very aggressive. But when we went to Australia, I thought we obviously thought the wickets weren't suited to that kind of stroke play. We went on the back foot a bit, but here came England and did what they did through the tournament because that's the habit they got into. Until we make that a habit for ourselves, it's never going to come suddenly in one big game. And that's what I feel.
Fair enough.
Fair point. Okay.
Absolutely right.
Talking about changes, will there be any changes in the third and final game? Remember, this is now the series decider. This is happening in Rajkot. The series now is 1-1. We've had two great games. India's won the first one, Sri Lanka won the second, and now takes us to the decider, which is day after tomorrow in Rajkot. Changes, well, nobody fell, nobody hurt, did nothing, no Indian team. So you'd play the same 11?
Yeah, you would. I mean, maybe. I mean, it's just not because of how he performed. It's Arshdeep had a niggle and he wasn't playing the previous game in Mumbai. He played in Pune. He only got a couple of overs. So if the injury is, still not just because he's had a bad game. Yeah. I think otherwise he should be playing all the games, because for a young man at 20, nobody wants a rest. Yeah. I don't know this modern day thought of, load management as well. Otherwise, you'd want him to, carry on playing. And if you leave out somebody who's had just a bad game when he's coming back, that would be unfair to him.
Yeah.
But if it's the niggle, that's, sometimes it happens that you need a little more time. And the game's, the series is online. So maybe you will see that one change. Otherwise, who else are you going to leave out? You can't leave out Tripathi after one game. Poor fellow's just had one game.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, everyone else is almost a certainty. If there is somebody who has to be left out or, when you have to, a young man, you've got to pull their ears, it has to be Shubman Gill because in the last couple of innings, the way he's got out, You can get out, a lot of people get out, but the way he's got out, you don't expect that from him. And then, especially if you want to play the aggressive cricket that we were talking a little earlier about, then probably that is your replacement that you should be looking at.
Fair enough, because the fact is that you look at Shubman Gill and you think that, oh, he's a veteran. He's only played a couple of T20 games, but he's been...
Because his style is
because he's been there in Test cricket and he's done so much, you feel like, oh, he's been around for a while. But yeah, I guess that's fair, DK, that he'll look at today's dismissal as well, or he'll look at a couple of dismissals. And I like what Ajay Bhai said, which is sometimes the teacher just needs to just pinch your ear a little bit.
No, I get what Ajay Bhai is saying, absolutely. Look, this is the problem when you have enormous talent and, you showcase the world what you're capable of. And then when you don't live up to that at times and get out in very soft manner, you tend to, obviously draw a little bit of flack. And I completely get it. I think absolutely he is somebody who is a special player and, he has the potential to produce special performances. And with the kind of competition that's around, Rituraj Gaikwad, you can name many that's there and thereabouts. You have to grab your opportunities. I remember Ajay Bhai talking about this before the game about Rahul Tripathi saying, you come in, I understand it's a game, but do so well that the guy waiting outside is just waiting there.
Yeah.
Hoping that something hoping that you would get an opportunity. That's pretty much what Shubman Gill has done, to be fair, in ODI cricket. But I think in T20s he's got this opportunity. It's nice to play home games because obviously the conditions much better. To maximize that is what he will be looking to do. But two soft dismissals for sure.
Well, for the Sri Lankan team, if you look at that team, you'd probably, you won a game, you lost a game and you didn't make a change. I don't think you're going to make a change now after winning the game.
No, I don't think they will. And following them since the Asia Cup, this seems to be their pattern. They stick to the players that they have. They do change their batting order at times. They change the way they approach an innings when they're bowling as well. And because of the kind of talent that they have, they've not gone looking for people every second game. They didn't change after losing in Mumbai. They certainly are not going to change anything when they get to Rajkot. Although I feel Rajkot is totally a different game from what you saw here.
Please elaborate.
No,
Please elaborate.
The wicket. I think the wicket.
It's
in
a
domestic
road.
cricket, it is the road. In olden days, it used their roller. There was a joke about Rajkot that they don't have a pitch roller; they have a road roller.
Yeah.
And that's because we were a developed nation, right? We used to have better roads than you had all over this country, so we had better wickets. It is one of those wickets that batsmen love to bat on, and you get big scores. It doesn't have the same kind of bounce. It doesn't have spin. It doesn't have much seam, but the bounce is not so much. So that's why you probably won't get that kind of scores or in that easy. People will have to take a little time and score in a different way. So maybe we want to bring in another spinner or some tactical change, but I don't think so.
Otherwise, you'd go with this. And Sri Lanka tends to do that, DK. They tend to pick an 11 and they tend to stick with it.
Absolutely. I think we've spoken a lot about Sri Lanka. I think they'll maintain the same 11, just like Ajay Bhai said. I'm really looking forward to that Brian Close question now. I'm keen to see who the...
DK's sitting there saying, खत्म करो ना पहले ब्रायन क्लोज के बारे में तो बताओ यार क्लोज के पहले ब्रायन क्लोज का बता दो
DK, we are having fun. DK's at home. He's got other plans. You and I have no other plans.
Not at all. Not at all.
I've got a plan for DK right now. My plan for him before I reveal that question, I'm dangling that carrot in front of him. He's got to give me his smart picks for the next game. One Sri Lankan player and one Indian player. What's a crystal ball telling you, DK?
One Sri Lankan player that I will pick for the next game would definitely be Vanindu Hasaranga. I feel he is
your bro.
very underrated in the world.
Okay.
I genuinely feel that.
Sticking up for his...
And one Indian player...
Fair enough. Sticking up for his teammates.
Well done.
Yes, absolutely. And not only that, I feel, there's a bit of a small town syndrome sometimes that we don't give him the due because over a period of time, he's been at the top of the T20 charts. He was highest wicket taker in the IPL, almost there at least. I think 22 wickets or something like that. He's done exceedingly well, but he doesn't get the due credit that he should get. And, he's a phenomenal all-rounder, to be fair.
Okay.
And from India, for me, there is no doubt in my mind. In the big games, big moments, I believe in one man, Hardik Pandya, and I think he will come good next game.
Okay, great. So, DK has decided to pick Hardik Pandya and... That's it. That's the international sign of the man of mystery. And for you? The two?
Oh, Sri Lanka, Tikshana.
Okay.
I think Tikshana probably will open the bowling there. And so, Tikshana. And for India, Suryakumar Yadav's back. The sun's going to rise. It sets the last at Rajkot in India. So, Suryakumar Yadav.
Okay, fantastic. Well, there you go. So those are their smart picks. We have the only smart pick we have now is to declare the joy factor answer and winner. That winner is our smart pick because you're the smartest because you picked this question and gave the correct answer. In case you have no idea what we're talking about, let's show you the question. This was the joy factor question that Professor Bhattacharya sent in today. In December 22, who beat Brian Close but was still far from Holly Colvin? I think I know this, by the way. I think I know this. There's the answer. Come on, come on. It is Rehan Ahmed became England's youngest men's test cricketer. Holly Colvin holds the overall record, making her debut for England when she was 15 years, 336 days. And then there's Rehan Ahmed, who it looked like he hasn't bought his first razor yet. Right? I mean, it was really strange because his dad was there at the cap giving ceremony. And his dad looked younger than all of us.
Did he?
Just saying.
I missed out, so apologies. I mean,
just saying. I saw it. It was quite a reality check. I went into my cryogenic freezer and cried for 3 days. Came out looking younger and brighter. All right, somebody who's not going to be crying is the person who got the first correct answer in. Well done. Very well done. Who is it? Oh, not well done. I'm quite used to him now doing this. Tanmay Chakravarti.
oh yeah, he's the regular, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the regular.
He gets everything right.
He's on the honors board. Sometimes I feel like he is Joy's neighbor or something. Or his chatbot. Joy's chatbot.
Does he send the questions through Tanmoy?
I know. I feel like Tanmoy sends the answers through Joy.
Okay.
It's the other way around.
It's the other way around.
Kuch hai gadbad. Kuch gadbad hai. Daya pata lagao. I'm going to find out and tell you in the third game when we see you here. That's on the 7th, which is day after tomorrow. We're going to see you here at 6:30 p.m. So don't confuse the date and the time. The date is 7. The time is 6:30. ठीक है? Correct पे आना. Okay? All right. I want to thank Dinesh Karthik. Thank you so much, DK.
Thank you, GK. Thank you, Ajay. It's been fun talking.
Thank you. It was fun. And I love your shirt. I need a couple of those. Next time you go and get those.
I must admit, I bought this in Goa, right next to your house, probably.
You didn't come over then. That's not fair. Next time you're in Goa, you got to come home.
Yeah, next time you go to his wardrobe and take his out instead of going and buying. And you get a free meal out of it as well. Think about it. Punjabi business mind. And a big thank you to Ajay Jadeja. We're going to see you here day after tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I'm Gaurav Kapur saying good night. We're going to see you in a couple of days on Cricbuzz Live.